All right, so we're here with Jackie Morris, the your event. Can you tell me the whole title?
Event coordinator and community outreach.
Absolutely. So in this series, we're going to learn more about people that work in disc golf, but work in behind the scenes of disc golf. And so I thought we would start with some people here at the Dynamic Discs headquarters. Now, how long have you been with Dynamic Discs?
10 years. It'll be 10 years June 3rd.
Wow.
So in 2 weeks.
Did you ever think it'd be 10 years when you first started here?
Absolutely not. I didn't even know what disc golf was. Jacob just told me that there was a job available, and I was like, sure.
What were you doing before?
I was working at T-Mobile, and I was working in the marketing department at the college.
Oh, really?
And I didn't want to work at T-Mobile anymore. And Jacob was like, hey, they're hiring. And I was like, sure. So, no, I did not think I would be here that long because that was my senior year of college. And then when I graduated, got offered a full-time position. And then, yeah, literally the rest is history.
That's crazy. Now, I remember working with you back in the day. Now, you worked in the store for a while. But tell us, what all the different areas have you worked in at Dynamic Discs?
So, pro shop, so I guess retail and online fulfillment. I briefly assisted with trade shows, did our warranty claims for a little while, just did everything customer service related.
Yeah.
Like the live chat, phone calls, things like that. And then I started assisting with volunteer coordinating, became the retail manager, and then found my way into events.
Nice. You've been all over the place with the disc golf and Dynamic Discs.
It's been kind of cool, though, to learn all those positions
and
then just kind of have a better understanding of what each person does now as well.
I can see that because a lot of times people kind of get stuck in their little silo of what they do, and they know that there are other parts, but they don't understand how all they work. How do you think that has benefited you?
Probably just in ways where I can maybe be a little more understanding of the processes and knowing exactly what I need to do or who I need to go to figure out things, or even just be able to help with things that I no longer do. Like being able to assist with the customer service, email, or during the holidays, help pack orders and do anything like that. So I think it's been a benefit in understanding processes and then being helpful when I can be.
Yeah. Now, how did you move into the current role that you are in now? How did all that come about?
I remember I was working at the pro shop, managing it, and I was just getting to this point where I wanted to do something different. I wanted to do something more challenging in a way, and maybe something that more aligned with what I was passionate about. Not that you cannot be passionate about retail and customer service, because they're still at the heart of everything. That's who we are. But I remember Doug was looking for a replacement since he was, kind of making different transitions in the company. And so I just asked if, I just made it noted that I was interested in it and just asked about it. And they were like, are you sure? And I was like, yeah, I think so. I've been helping, with events and doing volunteer coordinating and all of that. And then Doug was like, okay, if you're really serious, then we can talk more about it. And then it was after the 2021 GBO, I started jumping into events and helping with it. And so Junior Worlds 2021 was actually the first event I ever assistant tournament directed. And so it's kind of cool now being the tournament director this year, 2000.
So 2021 GBO, you were more
still at the retail store.
You were still at the retail store. Were you helping at all with events?
Yes, okay. I was doing the volunteer coordinating. Yeah. I was running check-in basically. I just owned that. Yeah. And then basically just assisted with anything Doug needed.
Was there any moments in there where you're like, is this really what I want to do? Or
I don't know. I mean, I think at any point in your job, you are going to think that. Yeah. Is this really what I want to do?
Yeah.
And I don't know. I've just really enjoyed it. I like planning. I like events. I like creating something and making it tangible for other people to experience. Yeah. So, yeah.
So you said the 2021 GBO and then 2021 Junior World.
Happened.
Yep. You were the assistant tournament director. Mm-hmm. How much, I know that you obviously more responsibilities, I'm assuming. But what were some of the biggest changes from going to that role?
Just taking on more responsibility as far as the block party, like creating a budget for that, working with Main Street and making all that happen. That was a big project of mine, while Doug then took care of, course notes, layouts, all the logistics on that side. And then I ran check-in again, made sure all the volunteers were good. So just taking more responsibility. And then I also was a tournament director on one of the courses, a course director, I guess you'd say, that week as well. But I mean, in 2016, I actually helped for Worlds, Pro Worlds, before even any of this. When I helped do volunteers, I also helped Doug build the welcome package. So when I did kind of step into that role, I kind of knew some of the things that I could do. So I helped with that and creating maps and trying to get information and drafting emails to send out to people. And so I did get more responsibility, but some of the stuff I had already been doing. So then I just kind of took it a step further.
What's something that you didn't even realize went into event coordinating? As you did all this, what were some things you're like, wow, I didn't realize that as an event coordinator, this is what I do?
Things like attending city commission meetings.
Oh, yeah? And what do you go to there for? Just to kind of see what's going on with courses, or?
Yeah, especially when you're requesting money from the city and being able to show up and answer questions. Working with the city on, especially when you do block party things, working with them on insurance and street closure forms and event forms and having licensing for alcohol, all that stuff that goes into it that you wouldn't really think about, running at an event at a scale of the Glass One Open or a Worlds. There's all those parts of it that you don't always think about. Renting the course. If people want to run an event, they're I'm just going to go do this. No, actually, you have to rent the course, you have to build a budget, you have to, make sure all your I's are dotted and your T's are crossed and all that good stuff.
Okay, so assistant tournament director for Junior Worlds 2021. Tell me the first event where you were the tournament director.
2022 Disc Golf Pro Tour Dynamic Disc Open.
Wow, that's a big one. Was that were you feeling it as the tournament director, the pressure of all of it?
Yes and no, because I still had Doug. And he was still doing quite a lot as well. So we were doing that together. And then we had Pro Worlds just a couple of months after that. And he was the tournament director for that, and I was assistant again. So yeah, that was the first event. And I definitely felt the pressure in the way that there is just this prestigious event.
Right.
And you want to make sure that it stays prestigious. And it was the first time I worked with the Pro Tour. I know we were on the Pro Tour previously, but I wasn't in any form or fashion the tournament director or assistant tournament director. So working with another entity and making sure you're following everything that's in their agreement, and so there is a lot more pressure when it comes to running a major or a Pro Tour event. So I definitely felt it, but I mean, it didn't scare me away.
That's good. I love it.
Still here. Yeah.
So now, as part of what you do in the outreach in the community and stuff like that, you do clinics and fundraisers and things like that. So tell us kind of what's your process for doing the community outreach?
So, I mean, I guess I gave a clinic this morning. And basically the process for that was someone reached out to me, told me they had a group of people they were wanting to have a clinic for. So we just discussed logistics, how many people were going to be there, where we wanted to have it, when. And then usually, just kind of show up, get the basics, get people playing. So that would be a clinic. For a fundraiser, it's a lot more scaled down than a major. Usually an entity wants to raise funds, and they'll come to me and we just kind of, walk through what's the goal, what's the purpose of this fundraiser, and then we just kind of plan from there, picking a course, picking a date, reserving the course, reserving that date, and then just, again, a budget, all of that. So it's just kind of a similar process in every way, but just scaled down. But yeah, it's usually we just kind of put things out there, be like, we offer tours, we offer clinics, we can help with fundraisers, and then we do donations, local donations, and a lot of those just get sent to me, or people will ask questions, and we just kind of start conversations from there.
So you've done all the tiers, right? We know that disc golf runs off tiers. We have, A tier, B tier, C tier, the majors, and then you get into the whole disc golf pro tour. But let's break it down just for an A tier, B tier, C tier. In your mind, I mean, I know there's specifics. You can go online to see the difference, but in your experience actually running them, give us a feel for what is really the difference between the different tiers.
I could run a B tier in my sleep. Oh. And an A tier, absolutely not. No, I'm kidding. No. Yeah, it is different. Like, yeah, you've got these tiers, but what does that mean?
Right.
There actually are stipulations to the different types of tiers. Like a B tier, you have to have a minimum set of holes to play. A C tier is the same thing. A B tier, you have to add this much money. A C tier, you don't have to. There's all these percentages and different rules for each one. And a C tier is like a very entry level. It's a sanctioned event. Most anyone can play. You don't need to necessarily have a PDGA number to participate. Yeah. You can have it be flex. You could do shotgun start. A lot more leniency. You could have it 1 round, 2 rounds. Just different things like that. Whereas like you start to go up the scale, you have a little bit more limitations, more rules. Mm-hmm. B tier has to be at least 3 rounds. Or you could probably play with like 2 rounds and, I'm sorry, B tier is 2 rounds. Mm-hmm. But you have to have a minimum number of holes. A tier, 3 rounds. And then, you get to like elite series, majors, different things like that. They all have different criteria you have to meet. But that entry level is you're going to have less, especially like X C tiers. Yeah. If you really want to like read into this, the PDGA website has all of the tiers. But yeah, you have less rules, easier to do, leniency, things like that. So, yeah.
So you would think, like from a tournament director's standpoint, that like the C tiers or the XC tiers are like the easiest to run. Is that the case? It's like fairly easy?
Yeah. And what's funny for me is they're actually harder for me to run because my brain is so B tier and above set.
Oh, really?
And yeah, Derek, one time, my boss, he told me, he's going to hate that I said my boss, my coworker, he said, it's a shame that you never had to run an event from your phone at a picnic table. And because like that's what a lot of tournament directors do.
Really?
And I've been very lucky to work here and have all of the resources I need.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just been funny though, me trying, because I'm getting ready to help with a C tier fundraiser, and I'm like, okay, this doesn't have to be big out of the water, Jackie. Like This can it can be fun. It'll be great. Like we'll be great. I do love fundraisers for that reason, just laid back. But
I remember back in the day when I first started doing media for Dynamic Discs, of being in the RV and watching like Rusco and Searle and Clay running the numbers and getting like in between rounds. They were like, putting in the scores and moving things around and putting the cards in and stuff like that. It can get pretty intense sometimes.
Yes, because you were rushing and you had a whole fleet of team. And I did do that a few times, but I was lucky to get into event running at the time that I did, because now everything's digital. You can use UDisc, set up an event through there. You can use if you're sanctioned, you've got PDGA Live and Tournament Manager and all that. But it really was like, if we were still doing it that way, I would definitely need more help, because a lot of the times now, like Monkey Island, it's a B tier. I need help checking in, and then after that, the system does it for me, and I just kind of like do my stuff on the computer and get it posted.
That's cool.
That stuff was really exciting though.
Yeah.
That like feeling of you get there and you're checking people in, and you're trying to move cards and get people to start, and then you like count as fast as you can. And it was cool to see, and I'm glad I got to like catch the tail end of that. Yeah. Because it does make me appreciate everything we have now.
Yeah, I remember sometimes I would help call out scores and stuff like that. It was really cool. All right, so let's kind of hone in on the Glassbone Open, or the GBO, since this is the first year it's been back, namesake, and in the way it's been ran. So, from the outside, I've been paying attention to social media. People thought it was a success. And I know you feel, based on meetings we've had, you feel like it was an overall success. But let's kind of like dig deep. pull the curtain back. What were some of the things that maybe didn't quite go as planned that no one would have like really have seen from the outside? Was there anything that like, oh my God, I cannot believe this is happening? Anything like that happen?
We definitely had some things that happened that I was like, oh gosh, like someone getting injured at a course and having the ambulance called. That's always difficult. And I mean, the best thing to do is call 911, you know, when emergency happens. But like when something happens like that, it's like, oh shoot, you know, like you can't plan for that.
Right.
The rain, you always can't plan for it. But one of our course instructors actually, that was going to be coming here and helping, got into a really bad accident a couple weeks before. So he wasn't able to come out. And I was like, you know what? It's fine. I'll do it.
Right.
So that was different. I was like, poor Jason Curl, like had to be with me all week at Jones East, and I had to be available because other course directors were texting me, or I get phone calls from players or whatever. And so I was helping as much as I could. And honestly, he didn't need me there, but you know, it's just nice to have 2 course directors at a course. So yeah, just adapting to that and still being able to do all my computer work from the course and take care of everything I needed to on the back end, while also assisting with player meetings and calling out names and all that good stuff. So, yeah, I remember leading up to the event, I was like, I feel too good about this event. Something terrible is going to happen. I like hate feeling good about something.
Right.
And, I think it was Derek was like, I'm sure you are, but if you're missing something, like, are you prepared to deal with it?
Right.
And I was like, yeah, I think so. So that's all you can be, is whatever happens in real time. You just, it happened.
Yeah.
We don't need to gripe and complain about it. We just need to find a solution and move forward.
There you go.
So
I like it.
yeah, I can't think of anything else that was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this happened.
Now, I know the Glassman Open isn't the only event that has like festivals added on, but it is one of the more unique events as far as the city joining in and you know, blocking off the doing a block party where they block off certain blocks of downtown. So how is that as an added layer from running other events and then all of a sudden having to do this, where you know you've got all the auxiliary events that people do around town, and then you've got the block party to figure out. So how do you keep all that organized?
Very carefully. I put everything in an Excel document, and I call it my playbook for that event. And at this point, it's something I can literally just copy year after year and then like refill in. But yeah, I kind of like look at like what I'm planning, and then you know, the purpose of this A tier is the disc golf portion, right? So as long as I take care of that first and we're good, then everything else that comes with it is an added or an extra. So as long as everything that's like the purpose of it is good, we're good to work on all these other things. And I just start conversations super early, you know, like 6 months out, hey, we're doing this. And then I try to keep everything straight as far as like I have a tab for everything in this Excel sheet. I'm using like my timeline, when I need to order porta-johns, when I need to order like reserve parks, when do I need to order trophies. So I've literally got everything kind of timelined out. And then, you know, sponsor emails, who have I sent them to, who wants to sponsor, what donations do we have. I use a lot of Google Forms too to keep things straight, you know, like to intake information from my staff that's coming and making sure that I booked a block of hotel rooms for them. So there's just so many small things like that people will forget about. And so I just have it all in an Excel document, and there's just tabs like staff, vendors, this, that. And then now I just have it down where I have like the same emails. I just copy and change things in them every year, and just update this, you know, this Excel sheet too. Change dates, change numbers, have the volunteers. How many volunteers do we need per course? What do we need them doing? But yeah, I just kind of have it all there so I don't forget.
Now, I know for me, the kind of person I am is like, I have a vision, right? And I have a strategy or what I want to get accomplished. And it feels like everything would go perfectly fine if it wasn't for people. Right? You have this spreadsheet, you have everything
Listen,
planned,
yeah.
and then you've got to I don't care what industry you're in.
The thing
It's people.
Yes, the thing to remember
Yeah.
is that people are not a technical problem. They're not a technical thing.
Yeah.
They are, when you're working with people, it's always going to be adaptive.
Mm.
And if you remember that, then usually you can work through some things.
Right.
Because you're not going to find a technical fix when you're working with people.
Yeah.
You're going to constantly be adapting to, okay, like they're upset about this. What can we do to do that? You know, this or that. Whereas like a canopy breaks, you're going to go out and change it. That's your technical problem.
Yeah.
And I guess I'm using some leadership like language here, but
No, I love it.
That's the thing is
Yeah.
like remembering that when you are working with people, you are working with their values.
I like that.
So that's something that I try to keep in mind. So
Mm-hmm.
like if someone comes to something, they get frustrated and they're upset. I mean, it's because they had this expectation and it didn't get met. So it's like, okay, like what can we do to either navigate that and what can we offer? Or is it just like one of those things you kind of have to like speak to loss and try again next year?
Yeah.
So yeah,
I like that.
people, yeah, they're just, you got to be able to adapt with one another.
Yeah. One thing that I sometimes implement is I always tell myself that people are going to disappoint you. And I know that's kind of maybe a negative way to look at it. But
It's the truth.
if you have an understanding that, like you said, people are people, they're not things.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to disappoint you. Then when something happens, it's not as big of a deal because you've already prepared yourself for it.
Yeah.
Right?
And to remember that like you don't have to take everything so personally.
Right.
Because sometimes it's not about you. You're just the person in front of them.
Yeah.
And that's all you can do.
Yeah, I love
So.
it. All right, so sticking with GBO, what would you say would be like maybe some top lessons you learned from this past GBO that you want to like take with you for the next events?
I know that this is like a lesson that I have learned, but I'm continuously reminded of it, is that community is just so important. The disc golf community, the Emporia community, whatever community you surround yourself, like that community is so important.
Yeah.
And I'm just so lucky to be in so many great communities. So while that's a lesson I learned long ago, you know, whatever you submerge yourself in, it's nice to be reminded. Some other lessons, good gravy. I mean, I'm always learning lessons, but
What did you find it challenging to delegate responsibilities? Do you ever get to where like you're like, okay, I know this needs to be done, I'll just do it, but you have to kind of empower people and delegate. Is that an issue for you, or are you able to do that easily?
I'm better at that now than
Yeah.
I used to be. I did not used to be good at it, but I have learned over the years, like you have to ask for help,
Yeah.
period.
Was that like a light switch that flipped on for you, or you just eventually you just kind of learned it and implemented it more at the more events you ran?
I kind of learned it, I guess, through like just other community things
Yeah.
and like books and stuff like that, and just trying to, you know, self-help work on yourself and grow.
Right.
But then like when you actually ask for help and you accept it, and then you really do kind of understand that, oh, this is easier. But yeah, I guess some lessons I learned with just mentioning that is I just felt way too good the whole week, and I was just like, I don't understand. And then it was like, because I had a great team, like,
Yeah.
you know, and that's a good lesson,
Yeah.
is if you have the right people in place, it makes things so much easier. It really does. And being able to share the workload, it does. So that's always a great lesson. And something I definitely learned this past time is like, man, yeah, we just had such a great team, great effect. We were so prepared and things like that. So that was nice. And then, I mean, one lesson it's like an ongoing thing, is we can always improve. We can always take notes. We can always try something different. This didn't work. That did work. So on and so forth.
Yeah. Now, I'd sent a few questions before this, and one of the questions was, you know, what was the biggest challenge at GBO that you faced? And then tell us how you overcame that challenge.
Definitely just, I think the biggest challenge that we faced, and I guess it's me too, but like we faced was that stigma of like GBO, and not being on the pro tour, and like it not being as fun, or it's not going to be as great, or just, you know, things like that, because the pros weren't here. And so that was a challenge, like trying to like just tell people like it's still going to be a great time, even if it's not like how it has been in the past few years. And I don't know. I mean, we still had a great turnout, and it seemed like everyone that was here had such a wonderful time.
So with that in mind, knowing that that was kind of a perception that was out there, what was your mindset going into it with that in mind? Like, or did you purposely do anything to go, like, I guess we'll show you. We're going to show you a good time. Oh, whoa, sorry.
Bing. Light bulb. Yeah, in some ways. And I was just trying, you know, like to make it that festival feel again in little ways. And again, I mean, it was still smaller than like that 1,600 people we had back in the day, but it was so manageable. And it seemed like everyone that came had such a great time. And I got so many emails that said that people had such a hoot. But yeah, like going into the event, I was like, okay, like what can we do to make this still great?
Right.
And be like, you were going to wish you were here with us.
That's awesome.
Even if there weren't professionals and all the other stuff. But
well, I think it was a fantastic restart, I guess, if the proper way of calling it kind of a restart with the Glassbone Open. I think it was great. I was able to come down. I didn't get to come down the whole week, but I was able to come down for the GBO block party. And
my birthday party.
Oh, yeah, that's right, your birthday
I just kept telling everyone it was my birthday party.
I know, you just kind of walked up like, it's my birthday party.
My birthday.
So that was really cool. So no, I think, yeah, everybody I encountered said they had a good time. And then some of the videos I've watched, you know, people had a really good time. So you did a really good job with that. So congrats on that. Okay, so to wrap things up, give me 3 pieces of advice that you would give someone that's looking into running a disc golf event. Now, whether that's casual or sanctioned, if someone's like, you know what, I want to start running some events in my area, what's 3 pieces of advice you'd give them?
So whether it's a C tier or a fundraiser, a big event, or honestly any event, I think it's important to remember your purpose. Why are you doing it? If you're doing it for yourself, probably not a great purpose. If you're doing it for others, or, you know, like there's a specific reasoning behind it. Now, like if you're throwing a birthday party, obviously that's for you, okay? Like, but your purpose is like to have a good time with your friends or do something, some celebrating. But yeah, if you're gonna run an event, just like having a purpose, like what is the purpose? Are you wanting it to be competitive? You want it to be fun, fundraiser? Are you wanting to take it to the next level? Just different things like that. You want it to be long-standing. And then I always say, like, if you are hosting an event, remember your audience. Always remember your audience and who you're doing it for. At Junior Worlds, probably don't want to just have a beer garden.
Right.
That would be weird. Yeah. I mean, for the parents, great, but like, what are the kids gonna do?
Right.
You know, we're running this event for children. They probably want to have some children geared activities. So yeah, remembering who your audience is always really important. And then finally, piece number 3, asking for help. Yeah. So just, it doesn't take much to ask for help, even though we make it seem such like a big thing in our heads, you know? But and like the right people will say yes, and sometimes people will say no, and that's totally fine.
So speaking of Junior Worlds, we have that coming up in in about a couple months. Tell us where you're at in that planning stage. And okay, I don't always understand how people got invited. Right, there was an invite list, and then at some point, if there's spots open,
It's open.
Then it's open right now. Okay, so
Everyone
anybody
got
can.
their invitation. Anyone can register now,
Okay,
but not people above 18. So not anyone,
right.
but
not quite anyone.
yeah, it's open now. There's 572 spots. We have 403 people registered.
Oh, okay.
We are deep in the planning. Like the caddy book is in the works. The tee signs, are in the works as well. Everything is decided as far as layouts. So now we're working on ancillary events. We have so many things planned in the community. It's awesome. So like there's a full event schedule on the PDJ Junior Worlds website. And now I'm just kind of working on finalizing those, getting player packs ordered, and working on trophies. So we're getting close, feeling good. Again, I hate feeling good about stuff. I want to be on my toes.
No, I get it. I like it.
One of my favorite quotes is, failing to plan is planning to fail. So anything in life. So just want to make sure I continue planning and thinking about everything. I'll start putting in, orders for Porta-Johns and stuff like that. So yeah, all that good stuff. Just in the works and working on it. And then collecting sponsorships and donations and recruiting volunteers.
Hey. We'll put a link in the description so you can check out.
So a lot, but everything's in the works and in motion.
Okay. What would you tell someone that is on the fence of, wanting to come out, or if they know somebody who they think should come out and play in this event? What would be your invite to them?
Invitation to the juniors or?
Yes.
Yeah. If you're an adult and you really want to help out, we will have fun activities and volunteering. But yeah, if you know a junior or have juniors that want to play, it's going to be a great time in Emporia. Emporia is super welcoming. Even if you just want to come out and watch and just kind of soak it up, I encourage you to do so. Emporia is a fun getaway. We have 27 disc golf courses in a 30-mile radius. So like...
I've been telling people like 12. I didn't realize there was 27.
It's crazy just because there's so many layouts and there's 9-hole courses and then you've got Cottonwood Falls so closely and like there's a lot of courses.
I've been gone too long, yeah.
So, even if you just want to come out and watch and like soak it up and then, if you're feeling brave about it too, why not?
Yeah. What were the dates? Remind people of the...
July 12th through the 19th.
Okay.
Is the full week. Competitions the 15th through the 19th.
Well, Jackie, thank you so much for coming on and teaching us about running events. We appreciate it, and we wish you the best of luck running further events.
Thank you.
And, of course, we will have you back on from time to time talking about events.
Sounds great.
We'll see you.
Bye.